What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today I want to talk about a character we all know, not all of us love, but oddly enough this character is kind of falling off. It's actually about Bardock, our good old friend, Goku's father, Bardock. So recently a lot of people, including myself, I actually dropped Bardock in October. So a lot of people have been dropping Bardock for either like Team Gohan or maybe constructing a new team around Adult Gohan or something like that because of the new like Universal Fuzzy technique. And despite most people still rating him as a top tier character or close to top tier, meaning like S or S minus, people are just not playing Bardock as much. And going as far, some people seriously, some people jokingly, calling him a weak character. So why? Why? And that's what I want to talk about today. So Bardock, we have been familiar with Bardock for like what, a year now, more than a year. He won Evo twice, right? Goichi's won almost every tournament on the tour with Bardock. But despite all these factors, in the past, since let's say around September or so, Bardock seemed like a kind of slow drop off. Like people still play him, but they only play him with very specific characters now as opposed to before. So this team I'm playing right here is Bardock GT SSJ. This is the Evo winning team this year, Goichi's team. Now, in the case of Kaz last year, right, Gotenks, Dokuhan, Yamcha, you saw a lot of people play his team and pick up his team at all sorts of skill levels, right? From really good players like Nakio, my homie, to just like, honestly, random people online. They all played that team. But this team is much more uncommon despite it winning a lot. Why? This question actually is the whole reason why Bardock is kind of falling off in the first place. So the main thing about this team and about Bardock, so we all know Bardock is amazing neutral. He's got this godlike lariat, he's got up lariat, he's got a bunch of good tools. We all know Ki Blast, great Ki Blast, gets in, does everything you need to do. Good pressure too. We all know all his buttons are safe. He has a bunch of good things on his side. The issue is though with this team actually has a pretty significant flaw, and I learned this through playing it myself. When you play Bardock with say GT SSJ, right? So you have all this implied control space. You could whiff, lariat, call the assist, blah blah blah. So the neutral is amazing, unquestionably amazing. The issue is what happens when you actually touch them. And the main thing about this team is that when you touch them, you aren't guaranteed to actually get hits. So as far as block string mix-up, the team is not that great. And it kind of sucks for Bardock because he gets the best neutral. Like, this is some of the best neutral you can have in the game. But as far as opening people up, it mostly revolves around tricks or taking risks on offense. And this is actually a concept from like other games, like say GG, where like there's some characters who they just have to take risks to open you up. So for this team, for example, a common way that I would use, and Goichi does this too, to like mix you up, is to do like block string, super dash, call assist, high low. Okay. Now there are clear counters to this because you have to leave a gap, and Bardock doesn't have any normals with special blocks on, so you could reflect this, you could mash this. Of course, it's a risk for the opponent to do it, but it's a risk for the player to do it as well. As opposed to if you say had Bardock and Kid Buu, you do button, call Kid Buu, and you get a mix up. And let's actually bring Kid Buu here to further exemplify the difference. So of course, like when you hit people with any team, right, there he is, Kid Buu. When you hit people with any team, you should have some type of mix up, like setups, snaps, level 3, that's all good, and this team has all that stuff. But when you touch people, as in block strings, like catch them blocking, it is pretty hard, unless they're tall, to actually get mix-ups. This team is actually, even when you fight a tall character, you can't really get airtight block strings to the fuzzies. You have to kind of count on them not knowing that they could like reflect or like try to walk out or something, as opposed to if you're playing like a Bardock Yamcha or Bardock Kid Buu or something like that. On top of that, you're relying a lot on conditioning, which is all good, right? So, relying on block strings, right? Conditioning them and with Dragon Rush and stuff, that thing is all good. That's part of the game. But making that your main way of hitting people, especially when you're considering tournament, where you're likely, especially if you're like a well-known pro, whatever you want to call them, player, you're likely not going to reach your familiar competition until like top 32, top 16, etc. Before then, you have to play people you generally have never played before. You don't know how they're going to defend. So it's hard to use like conditioning stuff like dragon rushing and stuff like that to open people up consistently. As opposed to like when you play Kid Buu, you just do call Kid Buu, you do your little jump. I did this wrong, but you just call Kid Buu, you do stuff, and then you do a high-low, and it doesn't matter how good they are, it doesn't matter who they are, they just get hits. So basically right now you see a lot of Bardock with Kid Buu, mostly because of that, because Kid Buu gives everybody mix-ups. Remember, if one of the biggest issues you have to solve in your game is mix-ups, Kid Buu gives that to you. Gotenks gives that to you, stuff like that. People want the neutral control of GT SSJ, but they still want the benefit of having mix-ups. So that's the main reason why I actually switched to Team Gohan. Because Team Gohan, yeah, you could reflect his auto combo into medium legs. Yeah, you could do that. But overall, I get to do mix-ups from block strings when I catch them. Because I was feeling, personally, this is me personally, I was feeling like I was catching people too much, but they were too hard to hit from block strings. So you just don't know how they're going to defend. There's no passive defensive options that the game can give you to tell you what they're doing on defense. You kind of just have to know, or like play a little passive to show them like, this is what I like to do, show me what you like to do, kind of thing. Now this leads to the flip side. So if that's the case, why does Goichi do so well with the team? It goes back to his contextual defense is really amazing, and he can actually take the time to condition you with these type of strings, or like use Dragon Rush to open you up, recognize the positions where you actually can get mix-ups. Like there's spots on the screen where this team has pretty good block string mix-ups, for example. He recognizes all those things, and he can actually take the time because his defense is good enough that he can get through like multiple chances of an opponent attacking him, as opposed to like a standard player will not be able to do that. They're just going to feel like sometimes Bardock just dies really fast. So that's basically where Bardock is right now. So despite him having really top tier neutral, good damage, good pressure and stuff like that, the game once again is becoming more about mix, offense, guaranteed offense. And the main way you do that with Bardock is to play a higher blocks and assists like Bardock Yamcha, Bardock Kid Buu, blah 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 blah, etc. And because of that, people want to play GT. That's the thing. People want to play GT because he punishes you by giving you mix-ups and stuff. He has mix-ups, he has Spirit Bomb, he does a lot of damage. But despite Bardock GT being a good combination, GT isn't really amazing at giving Bardock 50-50s, really. Bardock does it for GT. And Bardock helps GT in neutral as well, which is nice, but there are just better options if you want to have a truly like strong, optimal team. Okay, let me know what you think. If you have any questions about that, I think it's pretty straightforward. I kind of thought it was funny on this Japan trip how some people jokingly, mostly jokingly, people would be like, "Oh, Bardock is a weak character now, he's weak." Considering how much work Bardock has done in this game since his release, and especially since people still think he is kind of top 5, I think he's still top 5, despite me dropping him for Team Gohan. So again, let me know if you have any questions or comments, like and subscribe if you feel like it. We're trying to hit 10K by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate a subscription if you want to. And I will see you next time. Peace out.